Welcome to the video this week. My name's Lucy and I'm a professional counsellor, mentor, coach and mental health advocate. This week I wanted to talk to you about how you can make your own perceptions and your own life happier. The journey to happiness is one that we often take for granted. It seems that we're fed a whole series of information that makes it seem like happiness is some external force that we're going to find outside of ourselves, but that's just absolutely not true. Happiness is a state of mind that we create and we keep creating with small actions that influence the world around us. It's things that we do that change the way we perceive the world, because everything in our reality is based on perceptions. Our interactions with other people, our thoughts, our feelings, these are all based on perceptions of the world around us. Now, when we can influence and control these things, to some degree, our entire perception on what the world is. One of the things that I found very helpful on my mental health journey was to change how I thought about daily things. It was really easy after a while to start incorporating things that seemed much more positive and productive in my world. And I found a whole series of things that could actually help that came from a whole bunch of experts across the world, people much smarter than I, that said these things work. They're little, but they are scientifically backed. So our next series of videos, starting with today's, is all about how you can make your world a little bit better. So today I'm going to go through some tips that make you happier, and they're really not hard to follow. So I hope you get something out of it. The first tip that I can give you is appreciate what you've got. When we compare things to what other people have, and this is something that occurs on social media all the time, a phenomenon known as FOMO occurs, fear of missing out. FOMO. When FOMO occurs, it's because we're not appreciating the things that are in our lives and we're looking at what other people have and we're comparing ourselves to them. The fact is that nearly everything online is an illusion. Nothing is as it seems, and people presenting themselves in a certain light doesn't mean that their reality is based in that. But even if it is, and our life doesn't reflect their light, that's okay. We're who we are. We can generate posts and create all sorts of things if we're not busy thinking about all the things that we don't have and we focus on the things that we do have. You'll find that if you start looking at the things that you do have and the things that you've got to appreciate in your life, then very quickly the thought process behind your life starts to change. There's a positive shift in thinking that allows you to stop comparing yourself and looking at yourself through things that you don't have, and start appreciating all the things that you do have and all the skills that you've got to offer and the things that you've got in your life that you should be appreciating. We often let things slide because we think it's not as good as other people's, and this way lies misery and comparative fears. We start to compare more and more and more, and this invites in more and more negative feedback, and it becomes a loop where we just can't get out of it without help. But all you have to do is stop, think to yourself, what have I got that the world needs? It's really not hard to offer something positive to the world around you. It's really not hard at all. We often have these really hard lights about us, but there are always people around that will tell us quite freely something that we bring to them. It might be that you're a really hard worker. It might be that you've got a great collection of things around you. It might be that you're a really great cook. You could have a family that you deeply appreciate, pets that you deeply appreciate. You could live somewhere really beautiful. You could be lucky enough to have all of those things. If you stop and think about the things that you do have and focus on those, you'll start to find that there's a significant paradigm shift in your life. So start there. Appreciate what you do have and don't worry about the things that you don't. You can always work towards obtaining them if they become goals in your life. The second tip that I've got for you is think in solid terms. We all need to be able to measure things in our life against other stages in our life so that we know what progress that we're making. If we think in concrete terms, and if we think in solid terms, then we're able to look back and say, I was at this place and now I'm at this place. Is this a good place to be? Is it a bad place to be? Am I in a better place, or have I not really moved that far? When we start to think in concrete terms, you'll know whether or not you've finished a goal or met a goal, or if you need to reset something that you are or aren't doing. You'll know what those milestones are that you've reached because you've really clearly set out what they are in the first place. You've got comparisons for what they should be, and you'll know how far along that journey that you are. If you want to be better at the work that you do, you need to have a concrete plan in place. You need to know, what do I have to do to reach that goal? If you want to be a better parent, you need to know, what steps do I take to actually achieve that goal? You should know what the resources are that you're going to use to reach that goal, what the goal actually is, and define it really clearly so that you can reach it, and then what actions are going to occur around you. What you're going to do, what you're going to ensure environment provides to, and what other steps you need to take towards that goal. When we have concrete thinking around our goals, we find that they're so much easier to achieve. You can't break down a goal into manageable bite-sized chunks unless you know what that goal is and how you're going to get there. So think in solid terms. Next, we need to be supportive of our social network. Be it friends or family, we need to be supportive of the people around us. If somebody's taking on a new venture, encourage them, support them, buy their product, promote their product, sell it on social media for them, talk them up, tell them what a great job that they're doing. Because if the people around us are feeling the appreciation that we have for them by us being supportive and loving, it's so much easier for them to find success. And they know part of that success came from the people around them, and that spreads out. Not only that, but it makes us feel good to know that the people around us are being supported by us. They're much more likely to return that favour when we need it. It doesn't just mean that if your friend has a business, hint hint to all of my friends out there, that you need to promote that online or you need to buy that service or tell all your friends about it. It also goes for friends and family when they're doing things. The influences around us become more positive if we're more positive. So if we start praising the people around us and being socially supportive of their endeavours, they're much more likely to include us in these things. They're taking on a genuine adventure. The point is, we need to build up our friends and family. If we know somebody's struggling in school, be supportive of them. If one of our friends isn't sure if they should make a career change, you don't necessarily need to give them advice in that, but you need to let them know that whatever they choose to do, you're sure they'll make a great decision, that you're sure that they're going to come out on top. Even if you're not actually sure of that, it doesn't hurt to actually be supportive of them. If you completely disagree with their point of view, if you think they're about to make a mistake, there's no need for you to step in and say, oh, you're going to do it wrong. You can express your concerns in a way that is still supportive. Don't tear people down because you disagree with them. Don't tear people down because you think they're doing something really silly. Just be supportive of them and let them know, I've got concerns, but I know that you're a smart person. I know that even if you fall, you'll get back up. It's so much better in our lives when we're supportive of people. So start being supportive of our friends and family consciously and make an effort to prop up the people around you. The next one is smile. Smile at the people that you know. Smile at the people that you don't know. Just smile when you see other people. Did you know that there are 19 different types of smile, and all of them communicate to other people around us? Even if we don't know what that communication is consciously, unconsciously, we know what's going on with those smiles. You can pick it from a mile away. Now, when you smile at somebody that's passing you in the street that might not be smiling, they're much more inclined to smile back. It'll set off a serotonin trigger in their brain and they'll actually get a little high from it because somebody's being nice to them. It's a non-threatening gesture, which is interesting because in most primates, smiling is actually a threatening gesture. Humans, we've evolved differently on that. Smiling is free, and the more you give it out, the more you get back. And it's true, it's not just a saying. The more you smile at people, the more they're inclined to smile back at you, and the more they're inclined to smile at other people, and it just makes the world a little tiny bit happier with very little effort and very little investment. But what we get back from that is that we're part of making the world a better place. So smile at people. It really doesn't cost anything. And you never know, you could be the only person to smile at that person today. It might make a real difference in someone's life. They'll get home and think, that was really nice of them. I'm really glad that there are people out there that are nice. Why not be one of those people? It's not hard, so smile. It's easy. Next one is, don't face your problems alone. Rely on the friends, family, and networks around you, be it work, at home, with your relatives in the family. Seek help when you need it. Chances are there are other people around you that are willing to give you a hand. if only they know that you need one. When it comes to work, we should already have clear boundaries in place that mean that we don't struggle alone ever. There usually is somebody else that can actually help us with things without it being detrimental to our career. And if it is detrimental to our career to actually ask for help, you need to start reconsidering where you're working. I mean, sharing a problem, we not only are more likely to find solutions through other people's perspectives, we often find that the burden of the problem is relieved just with other people thinking about it for us as well. Many hands make light work, as the old adage goes. And when it comes to problem solving, the more people around you that are aware of the problems, then the more chances there are of finding a solution for that problem much more quickly and manageably than it would have been if we struggled through it alone. We are social creatures as well. We do need to discuss our issues because otherwise they just swirl around in our heads and they get bigger and worse and more isolating, and eventually little things lead to big problems. So if we reach out to the people around us, even just as sounding boards, they can often provide insights into problems and issues that we're having that we wouldn't have thought of on our own. We're social creatures. Don't try to solve everything on your own. Reach out to the people around you, even if you don't think they know anything about what you're talking about. Sometimes that's the fresh perspective that we need. Another example of this is really practical. I know for a fact through my youth that when I got into trouble with, say, paying a bill, I would often just avoid the problem. Instead of seeking help because I was just too proud to ask somebody for money, I didn't ever then just think to contact the bank, for example. Let's say, hypothetically, I had credit card payments due. I'd lost my job, I didn't have any money to pay that credit card bill, so I just pretended that the problem wasn't there. I'll fix it next month. Next month rolls around and suddenly I've got twice the payments and half the money. Now, if I'd asked for help, chances are I could have stopped the snowball right there, or even better, a step beforehand, but I didn't. The debt piled up really quickly and I still didn't have the money to pay for it. Eventually it got sent to the debt collectors and I had to deal with it as this huge big problem that was impacting other parts of my life. Now eventually the situation sorted itself out. But later on I went to the bank and I was talking to the person that was in charge of my account. She said to me, "Why didn't you just contact us? We would have put a freeze on the debt." And I said, "I didn't know that was a thing." She said, "Absolutely. We tried to call you, but you kind of dodged the calls." And I said, "Well, I was really embarrassed about it, and I just thought that you were going to hound me for money." She said, "Look, it's a tough time. You know, we know that people have a hard time paying bills sometimes. You lost your job. If we'd known that, we would have been able to do something about it." And I felt like such a fool. They were really lovely to me. The moment I opened the account up, I should have known that I could have spoken to them, but I was so embarrassed about it that I didn't. The moral of the story is always reach out for help. The worst that's going to happen is that people know that you need help. So remember, reach out when you need help. Don't do it alone. There's just no need for it. Now the last one for today, although certainly not the last one that I've got to share with you, but the last one for this video is your goals should all align. All of the goals that you have in your life should all fit rather neatly together to work together in a sequence to be able to be achieved. Let's look at it with a metaphor. A car isn't going to get very far if it's got 4 different size tyres on it, is it? Your goals are pretty much like the tyres on that car. They've got to be the same size and pointing in the same direction for the car to be able to move smoothly in one direction. If the tyres are all wonky and one's flat and one's full and one's 17 inch and one's 16 inch, and the back one's 21 inches, you're gonna have all sorts of problems and you're just gonna crash out. That's all that's going to happen. You're not going to achieve your goals. You're not going to get to your destination. Your goals need to be aligned. They all need to have genuine focus. One of the ways that we can do this is by making sure that the goals in our life, such as say our career goals, match up with our family goals so that you aren't spending all of your time at work and missing out on your family. Even though you might be at work to be able to afford a certain lifestyle for your family, is there any point to doing that if you never get to see your kids' plays or go to their football games or actually spend any time with them? Is there any point to having a boating hobby that you can't get to because all of the time that you're spending at work means that any free time that you have to spend with your family to keep them happy, and then you never get to go out on your boat and you never get to go fishing, and it just doesn't work, does it? All of the goals in your life need to be in balance and equilibrium for your life to feel smooth, consistent, and for you to reach those goals. If you want to be able to go fishing, spend time with your family, spend time with your friends, and have a career, you need to be able to balance those goals. They need to have equal focus for you to be able to apply to them. You need to find balance in your life so that those goals run smoothly. It's not hard to do once you get the hang of it. And there's a few ways that you can go about that. And I'm sure we'll cover that in another video. But for now, keep your goals aligned with what you want to do. So that's it for this week. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you got something out of it. And please join us again next week when we go over some more ways to make your life more positive. Thanks for joining me. This is Lucy from A Good Chat, and I hope this was a good chat. Talk to you next time.